Okay, much obliged to have you join us again on the program TMI Monday. We'll go straight to our discussion segment now, looking at some very, very pertinent issues. We'll begin from the Kano Emirate Council, where there is a controversy there following the balkanization of the Emirate Council by the governor, His Excellency Alhaji Ganduje, and some have described this as an action taken too far by the governor, but others have said, well, this is something that is commendable. This is something that should be commended. As a matter of fact, the governor needs to be applauded for taking this action. Well, as is always the case, we have those for the pros and the cons, for and against on issues of this nature. Well, we recall very, very well how Sanusi, then CBN governor, was constantly at loggerheads with the government of the day at that time. All right, and under this present administration, he has also been a very, very vocal person, expressing himself the way he feels about issues. And of course, he's never hidden his seeming lack of, how do I put it now? He's never hidden his seeming, unappreciation of the actions and inactions of Governor Ganduje, particularly with the controversy of the dollar line in the pocket, you know what I mean, which was a video that was viral on YouTube. That matter is still in the court. But in spite of the fact that there's been a court order restraining the governor, the House of Assembly, from going ahead with the balkanization of the Kano Emirate Council, that action has been taken against the background that the State Executive Council are saying they are not aware of any court order. Our panelists here will give us insights into the program. As you know, discussions of this nature, views canvassed, expressed, are entirely those of the ones expressing them. They are not the views of the station. But let's quickly welcome our panelists. From my extreme left, let me thank Fares Okbere. Fares is a political analyst and also a public affairs commentator. Many thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We have with us also Barrister Awu Osagi, is also a legal practitioner and a political commentator. We thank you for joining us on the program.
It's my pleasure, thank you. Hello, viewers at home.
I have with us a social commentator, Comrade Christian Osagale. Comrade, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Good morning, it's my pleasure.
Daniel Igile has promised to be part of the discussion today. We're still expecting him here. But let's start with the guys that we have in the studio. Gentlemen, there is a semi-friction between the governor and, of course, the man who is supposed to be the paramount ruler in that state, talking about Governor Ganduje and Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, the Emir of Kano. What would you ascribe as the genesis of this issue that is, magnifying by the day? Let me start with you, Fares.
Well, I think the governor is just being petty and playing petty politics without realizing that he's trying to disrupt history in the state and in the country at large, because the Kano Emirate is one of the most respected emirates, not just in Nigeria but in Africa. And what the governor is doing without realizing it, he's trying to rubbish a part of their own history, because the Kano Emirate comes with a lot of history, and he is trying to rubbish that history without realizing it. And we all know Sanusi has been very critical. He didn't start today. He has been critical of government. Even when he was the CBN governor, he then wrote a letter that he also leaked the letter out, and in the process got the 7th president there, Goodluck Jonathan, into a lot of problems with Nigerians. And he has been like that. We know him. He's critical. He's someone that likes to talk about issues. He's a very well-educated man. And it's unfortunate that the governor has been unable to distinguish between politics and history, because what he is doing today is something that would judge him in a bad light tomorrow. And coming back to to the history of these problems. For a few months ago, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kano, came out and was quite displeased with the elections that were conducted in Kano State, particularly the rerun elections and the amount of violence and everything. And he has his own right to express his own opinion. And that was it. He expressed his opinion, and then the governor and his men attacked him, and they said he supported the opposition, and then they said he's playing politics. And then they went to the government house, got talks to remove his emblems and his portraits from the government house and all that. And that was where the whole thing started. And now, you know, the governor, seeing that the Emirate, there's a little problem between Mohammed Sanusi and his cousins, took advantage and used that as a yardstick to balkanize and to divide, you know, and to destroy what's on ground. And I'm telling you, it will not go down well for him also.
Okay. Pastor Awosage, let me bring you in here. There's supposed to be a subsisting court order, but the Kano State government told everyone that they were not aware, and that's the reason they had to go ahead with the inauguration of the new Emirate Council, as it were. What are your thoughts along those lines?
Thank you very much. It's unfortunate that the way we see things and act most of the time, it's really funny. For a sitting governor that should know, said, well, we are not aware of any court orders. How well would they come? The beliefs obviously would have come, and they were evade service, and they shut the gates. So there are ways this has been done, and there are ways you could, but there are also ways they could have gone ahead by ways of substituted services of court. You know, if an order of court is not, maybe you are unable to serve the parties or whoever, as the case may be. But again, you know, Kano is another very volatile part of, as at the time of election, we saw the violence that trailed it, and this is the governor involved. So going to serve a governor or serve any of his men, whoever you want to serve, the Attorney General of the States, as the case may be, will not be an easy ride home, because they have all the machineries of government. They can instruct the police, they can do all they needed to do. But I think it's a very bad one for our democracy, and it's wrong, and they shouldn't act that way. So in looking at it, I believe the court is still the final solution to every common problem as it stands. Now, the governor, you say, well, why did the governor go ahead to creating other Emirate Council?
Yeah.
If he has the right to do so? Oh, yes, he does. He does. Now, if it's been passed into law, they have the powers to do that. That's why they are there to make laws. Like my brother have rightly stated and said, that it won't go down well. You are using your powers and the time you have now to do the wrong thing, because it's obvious that this is the wrong thing. It's really petty. Now, Lamido Sanusi is a well-known person all over the world. Now, they're trying to demean him or to ridicule him, or what other words will I use now, to cut him to size or try to tame him from talking. You are making him more popular.
Okay.
I've seen in history, when you try to run down people, you try to bring them down, the best way is to ignore them. If they are good students of history, there are ways you could isolate them and just ignore him as though he doesn't even exist in your world. They're trying to give him this much attention by, if the governor could get up and start constituting where we need to do this, catching in on petty issues within family, that is very unfounded, and it doesn't make any meaningful sense to us. And if you take a critical look at it, he has succeeded in making the man popular. Now, what is Sanusi talking about? Is he agitating for what is not right? No. He talked about education. He talked about you taking loan, 2017, for the light ray and all of that. Okay. What? I said, yeah, that money. In Mo Ibrahim's foundation program, he was a guest and he was talking. He said, not like, the government is what should impact on the people.
Yeah.
He talked about the South, how 80% they are well above poverty, and he talked about the North, how over 80% they are below. And he mentioned the need. What are you doing with the light train to go for naming ceremony, or where are you going to? We should invest in education. You should look at, even when someone criticizes you, don't just look at it like it's an enemy. Criticism at times could be constructive.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I want to see Emir of Kano as a very constructive critic in that sense, because over time he had said the same thing. He had even acted against the former president, Jonathan, and why he was
so this has been consistent with this
yes,
person.
yes. Now now look at it now. He's displeased with the present government, and he didn't hide his feelings. Oh, that is Emir, he says he's playing petty politics. No, he's not playing politics. I don't want to believe he's playing petty politics. He's concerned, for the people. He feels the people are not getting enough. He feels we're in a world where we just allow people to die. And you can see his passion at which he speaks most of the time. He talked about a woman, when they said they are living below $1 or whatever, he said, look at a woman that can't even afford common medication for the child, and the child is dead. And everybody felt it, because when he's speaking, when a man speaks because he wants gain, it's obvious. This man is not playing politics with Gandoje. Gandoje have a personal issue on his own. He should sort himself out, and he know what he has been with and what he has been doing. He know why the people are against him. You cannot hide for too long.
No, but what if they voted for him?
You said they voted for him. The tribunals is still going to
and they gave us that result.
Yes, we have had that over and again. We know the way these things have been played out over time. Now, we saw what happened. What happened with the commissioner of police who even allegedly
let's stay on course. Let's stay on course. Now, just to remind our viewers that from the initial Kano Emirate Council, 4 additional Emirate councils emerged. We have Rano, Bichi, Gaya, and Karaye, and that has now made it
5.
Total number of 5 Emirate councils, if we include the original mother Emirate council, the Kano Emirate Council, which of course Muhammad Sanusi II, the Emir of Kano, has been heading. And now we heard that from the inauguration, the traditional rulers who are within the new Emirate Council have been asked to redirect their homages and all other allegiances to the new structures that have been created. But it's on record that there is a commission set up by the Kano state government which commenced the probe of financial dealings under dealings of the Kano Emirate Council, probably under Sanusi. Aren't these pointers to a vindictive mission, or an action you could describe as a personal vendetta on the part of the governor? But Barrister Awosai told us a while ago that the governor, the State House of Assembly, has the constitutional powers to do what they just did.
Yes, you see, first in life, politicking is part of human nature, and you cannot divulge politics from what is happening in Kano. You remember, there's no way, when Sanusi was crowned as the emir, it was crisis from good luck issue and how he left the governor of CBN, and Gandoje was the deputy governor under Kwankwaso, and immediately Kwankwaso galvanized him into governor, and the both of them become enemy. And I think probably he felt he need to break down every structures that the former boss are put in place. But for me, I'm not baffled with what is happening in Kano. But the only challenge I have is how will this action benefit the ordinary man at the end of the day? Yeah. That is my own point. Okay. Because what he has tried to do, even before now, sir, I want to tell you there were already fillers from the Emirates. Kingmakers are not too comfortable with the way Sanusi have been handling the affair since he became the emir, because to them, when you have issue with governor, there are channels. You cannot just expect maybe like the Crown Oba of Benin now to be talking. There's a way he has direct link with the governor. There's a way you bring issues on board for good governance. But if he's talking of poverty, like I said, is the common man that is my own concern. He has presided over the 44 local government since he has been there. And what this man has started to do now is to reduce the local government for his side to just 8 local government. But what he has actually done now, I think is actually, if it's not well handled, it might snowball into a bigger problem. Okay. Because he went as far as touching the sensibility of history that have existed in that Emirate since Osman Fodio era. Now, if you look those 4 Emirate created, 3, Gaya, Rando, and Kayare, has been part of Osman Fodio platform in those years. Okay. Now, the other Bichi, he just coined it to bring all the kingmakers under that platform. So the kingmakers are the one that will be presiding over that emirate. So he tried to see as much as possible. And if you see the inauguration, you see the crowd. Some people are happy. Obviously, some are not happy. But I tell you that those that will be comfortable with the way Sanusi have been going about are happy. Okay. And there were even information that Sanusi on his head might actually not even want to continue because it's not by his nature, which we have rightly observed here, is that somebody that cannot pretend about issues. He's not comfortable with the way things are. Okay. And his position as the emir compelled him to mellow down. But he's not that kind of person. And somewhere along the line, some people are even speculating that he might resign like his great-grandfather did.
These are just speculations.
I'm saying those are speculations. But because of his kind of person, he needed to know that his level of position has changed. Like he said, even when he was making that comment, he said he is not afraid to speak because the position he's occupying is temporary. So if he was forever, he will not even come there. So he knows the implication. Okay. But the good thing I respect him for, he's not shying away from who he is.
Okay, now I want to ask a question because of what you said a while ago, which is that the fact that you are a traditional ruler, does that now mean that you mellow down, you don't speak out, we don't speak up, you don't take action? We remember using Edo State as a case study, the Oba of Benin stood his grounds against CDAs.
Absolutely.
And today they are history. And we know the leverage that has brought to developers, landowners, property owners in Benin City. So I'd like to get your thoughts along those lines as well.
That is why I say the communication channel is he didn't follow it properly. Okay. Like the case of the Oba of Benin, you see, if you look, the governor and himself was always interacting. Okay. Even when the law was sent to the bill, the palace have input. Okay. At the end of the day, look at they work together. These people have come out to say the government is on its own. Things will not work. Okay. You understand? So those are the channels he needs to follow. As the head, like I said, he as the emir of Kano, he is in charge of the 44 local government. So he has every opportunity to do the needful for the benefit of his people. So when there are like the railway, the issue is against, he needs to even bring his own people together, let them know that this is the platform or the method we are going to use to solve this problem. Bring the governor on board. Okay. So not to always come publicly. Like I said, it's his nature.
It's his style.
It's his style.
You can't take that away from him.
But he should understand that governance has mechanism of operation. Okay. So if you follow the mechanism of operation, things will work well. Like the governor said, and the challenge now is even the bill has been gazetted. The fastest bill in the history of this country. 2 days pass, no public hearing, everything was just done, sign it all and gazetted. So within a week, the emirs have been named, they have been given their staff of office.
They've been inaugurated.
So we discovered that it was really a plan. And for me, how does that plan benefit the people? Like he said,
that's a big question.
That is the question. How does that plan benefit the people? Because he said the dismantling of the emirate is for the interest of developing the community, the people, in terms of education, development, and all what and not. So we are observing, we are looking. How will the people begin to benefit? Obviously, this is if he succeeds this tribunal, this is his last tenure. He cannot come again as governor. So if none that will say he's creating political empire for himself in future, who knows? But the issue is that If he's doing it for self-interest, it will backfire.
Okay,
if he's doing it for the interest of the generality of the public, certainly it will not backfire.
All right, 3 days ago, the Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission opened fresh probe on the alleged financial mismanagement of Kano Emirate Council under the watch of Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II. Already the commission has invited 2 uncles and brother of the Emir to appear before it, and that appearance has already taken place. Is this politics gone too far in penetrating the traditional institution? And what is the implication of all of these in your view, Fares?
Well, like I rightly said before, the implication is that the governor, without realizing it, is trying to disrupt history. Without realizing it, he's trying to bring down the level of respect the Emirate commands, without realizing it. Because Sanusi will not be Emir forever. And that's what he doesn't understand. You might not like the Emir, but don't destroy that seat. And that's what he doesn't realize. I might not like you, Sonny Duke, but I cannot come here and put fire on this studio because you'll not be here forever. Yeah. So that's what he is doing without realizing. And the governor is overly being petty. That's how much I can describe it. This is a governor that, how do you even set up a probe when you yourself, you have your hands stained in so much corruption, so much, what he said just now, what is Sanusi talking about? He's talking about the main issues. Sanusi has never come out to attack the governor personally. What he has come out to talk about are issues that Nigerians are facing every day. We are talking about poverty in Nigeria. Kano State is one of the highest states with the poverty rate. It's alarming in Kano. If you go there, you see it is alarming. We have children out of school. In Kano State, you have the highest number of out-of-school children. In their millions, roaming the streets. And these are issues that the governor is not addressing. And the governor is out here playing politics with a system that he should not even destroy. Because Sanusi will not be Emir forever. Sanusi is not the first Emir, he will not be the last. So when you say, oh, because I don't like Sanusi, let me destroy the history, let me destroy it, then what you are creating is a system that will not have that respect that it normally had before. Because, whether you like it or not, what sustains the traditional institutions are the respect over time. People respect the traditional institutions in Nigeria. And not just in Nigeria, in Africa. That's why they've been able to maintain that independence and that value that it has. Because a lot of people respect them. Yeah. Most people even respect the traditional institutions more than the administrative institutions we have. I tell you, most people, even in Edo, will respect the traditional institution more than the administrative institution.
Is this being eroded now? Is the traditional institution being eroded?
Systematically, it is. Because when you devalue it, if it loses its value, then who respects it? And once it loses its respect, people don't see it anymore. And now you are setting a wrong precedence, because other governors can say, oh, because a certain traditional ruler in my state is not comfortable with my policies or is not happy with the way I'm going about what I'm doing, can just set up this kind of cut and nail legislation and just do whatever you like. And we have respected traditional institutions. We have the Sultanate, we have the Oba of Benin, we have the Obi of Onitsha, we have them. So, and these are people who people look up to. Apart from the institutions of government, Nigerians look up to them for direction. Nigerians look up to them for stabilization. And you don't just rubbish them because you don't like the person who's occupying that seat. He will not be there forever. So that is what the governor does not realize. And the governor is sinking himself more and more without realizing it. Because if you see yesterday when the Emir came back from the Hajj, you see the people, he came out from the airport to his palace, normally takes 20 minutes. And it took 2 hours to get to the palace because the roads were filled up, people were, that tells you that the body language of the people. And he does not realize all this because he just wants to get at Sanusi. He just wants to get at Sanusi. What if Sanusi dies today? You would have created an emirate that doesn't have the kind of value that it has. We all talk about the Sultan of Sokoto, the Oba of Benin, why there's so much respect and so much value. It's because the people itself have accorded that respect and value to those systems. And when you come as a government and say, oh, I'll just scatter it, I don't care because Sanusi is not supporting my government, or Sanusi is criticizing me, or Sanusi is asking me to build more schools, or Sanusi is asking me to invest more in women education. What is Sanusi asking for you? This is a government that was seen on video collecting bribes. So how do you even set up a probe to probe another person?
Even at that, a court has not convicted him, so we'll just leave it at that.
How does a court convict a sitting governor?
Because he enjoys,
how will a court convict a sitting governor?
Because he enjoys immunity clause. We only saw it,
but we know the facts.
He's not be taken to court.
We know the facts. He can't even go to court. We know the facts.
Yeah.
The facts remains that he was seen on video collecting bribes.
Yeah.
So he's not even in a position to talk about corruption.
But it's the government.
When in a country where people are so hypocritical to the extent that you are caught doing something and you are not the one coming out to say, oh, I want to probe the emirate for misappropriation of funds. When you were seen collecting bribes from contractors, come on.
Okay, Mr. Awosage, let's look at the legal implications of this. Well, one of the fastest bills so far, all right, that,
in the history of Nigeria.
In the history of Nigeria, and then maybe one of okay, we saw a similar one with the Honorable Justice Onogen's case, that kind of, we just saw everything, speed of light. I'm sure, I mean, with the speed with which some of these things were done, will be faster than the speed of light.
Absolutely.
Just to exaggerate a little bit. But now, with the court order and the Kano State government saying, we're not aware, we were not served, and all of that, these things have been gazetted. What's the way out?
Well, you see, whatever it is as it stands today, what has been done can be undone.
By who?
Yes. Definitely he will not be governor forever. Hold on. We are not going to, he is not going to be there forever. Now, I agree that it's been gazetted and passed everything, and now it's become a substantive law that you could, cite and all of that. Now, the point I'm trying to make, it's also clear that a governor, or if a system have been found with fraud and irregularities, now he raised a point that the opinion of the people were not sought. Even if it's been gazetted, okay, the fact that someone has been wrongfully convicted and the fresh fact comes on board, you feel the court can do something to that? Obviously they can, regardless of how it is. Yes, that's why they really did it, so that nobody will question them, or nobody will try to stop or slow down the hands of time. They know definitely he will go to court. He's an enlightened person who will want to fight legally and try out to do all of that. Now, even if Sanusi does not fight now, what I'm saying, Gandoje will leave the office one day, like we all know, just barely another 4 years is out. And the house, whatever that is controlling now, will not be like that again. Okay, now, a fresh governor will come up and look at it. How are you sure that it's about two friends now fighting? Just like the River State issue to two friends, Amechi and Wike. Now it's Kangwaso and Gandoje fighting. Now, but I must tell you, on the part of morality, you see, people, we may not talk so much about a man of integrity. I tell you the truth, even a thief want to transact with somebody they believe have so much integrity. Yes, I'm telling you the truth. Now, I'm not saying Gandoje doesn't, but from the picture, the body language of the people, they celebrate Sanusi more than him. I'm telling you the truth. Even if they say things about him, he talks too much. What is he saying? So tomorrow, a governor will come. He himself is not a baby, and he's been in the game too. They are going to sponsor someone tomorrow too that will come on board and undo some of these things. But I think Sanusi's kind of person is not really interested in that. That's not him. He has played his part. Like Kingsley Magalu has said, I've played my part as a Nigerian. If I was not voted in as president, that's not my making. But I've satisfied my conscience. He has cried out to everyone Look at what is going on. Now look at the bill they have. Yes, it can be reversed. When I say reversed, you may see it as maybe, well, it's something that is a mental cast. It's not a mental cast. If laws are made, laws can be, there are alternative ways that things can be done. Another law could come up that supersedes it. In the same, if like we talked about federal laws and state laws, if the federal law is higher than that, and if a fresh one comes up, it's knock off the old one. So what are we talking about? So you can gazette anything whatsoever, and you cannot revert back to it again if a fresh one. Okay, if another house come on board, another governor come and do same, you now go to court. Okay, since you did your own in the speed of light, we'll do it probably in another faster speed to do same. How will you now bring this before court? But I think it's unnecessary to play cheap politics with things like this. I honestly believe that Ganduje has done a very, very funny thing, and it's wrong for him to have acted in that manner, and there's always remedy in courts. There are alternatives, 1,001 way to get it done. So it all depends on the rule, on the pattern they so desire to apply. But as it stands today now, I tell you, some of those persons within those local governments, some of them are still saying they will never be loyal to, to the new constituted emir and all of that. We have had talks like that. And they are trying to pull away and say, well, we're still loyal to the emir of Kano in the person of Lamido Sanusi and all of that. So if you don't have to be loved by everybody, but the truth is that what you are saying, you say you may not love me, you may not like me, but you cannot ignore me. You cannot just wish Sanusi away. All he stood for, all he said, and all he's still saying is what we should look at critically. So whether politics, whether gazetted laws and all whatnot, it cannot stop. What law will stop the people's wish?
Okay. But on the final note on your point, Governor Ganduje and the State House of Assembly,
yes,
they've exercised their powers,
absolutely,
enshrined in the Constitution, in doing what they just did, truth of force.
Yes, they have. They have. Okay. Like I've said, you could abuse your office. You could abuse privilege. Yes, he has done what he needed to do.
Okay. In line with the Constitution.
In line with the Constitution. Okay. In line with the Constitution. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying, despite the fact that, it's what the Constitution is trying in the Constitution, like he even wanted to make a mockery of the emir by saying that it's supposed to be, it's not even answerable to him, it's the local governor.
Chairman.
No, hold on. I know what I'm saying. Yes, you cannot look that the local government is there to ensure they give you the whatever the entitlements. Yeah. Does not mean you now make, you see, the way you communicate. That is a revered emir and is someone that is celebrated and known. So you cannot just say because, okay, if he goes to the emir's palace, will he not bow down? He's supposed to genuflect. You are supposed to, that's what we're saying. So there's a way you communicate, just like talking about the Oba of Benin. Okay, the Governor Obaseki will now say, well, the Oba of Benin is supposed to be, it doesn't, the language is what, I look at him and look at the way he's communicating. And now he said, well, I did what I did because I wanted to reduce the burden on did he complain? So there are many things that you are just saying, you are setting the questions and giving answers to yourself. The man didn't complain. The man has not said, I'm so saddled with so much work that I need a relief. Yeah. Come on, help me out. He did not do that. Yeah. He said he wanted to reduce his burden. What are you saying? You are making a mockery, like he said. Tomorrow he will not be there. Someone will come tomorrow and say, well, this is what they did to the emir. Well, I can do same. Anyway, I'm not surprised. His in-law did same in your state. The governor Jumobi, he did same. He had to read this. So it's probably maybe in-law talk. Let's do this thing like this and get these guys off our back. I think that is my thought.
Anyway, that's just on the lighter side. Let's quickly anchor this discussion before we switch over. Do you see an end in sight on this matter? You said a while ago that at the inauguration on Saturday, the Sani Abacha Stadium, where the event took place, was packed full. By your description, that's also a testament of the popularity of the governor. Farah said 20 minutes drive from the airport to the emir's palace. It took 2 hours. I mean, with people that came out to show solidarity. So it looks like this is not going to be the end to this. It's not just inside yet?
You see, power corrupts absolutely. You don't know the value of power. If we know the value of power, it's quite that. You see, let me tell you, those 4 emirs now, they are beginning to weight power, and their influence is going to be great. So you taking it away from them will not even be easy. So the popularity they enjoyed before they were made emir is already increasing. Okay. They have relations, they have friends, they have. You see, his power opportunity have come to their table, and they are beginning to grow. None of them rejected the position. And like he said, some local governments say they're not going to be loyal. It's difficult because this thing is law. And if the constitution said the State House of Assembly will pass law concerning how traditional office is being whatever, there's nobody that can challenge this matter. Even if another governor comes, we are going to send a fresh bill. And that is why I said earlier, the man anchored this thing on the sensibility of the core northern religion. Let me tell you, the Osman Dafodio generation, people are still aligned to it till today. Now he has went to resurrect the 3 aspects of that emirate that was almost forgotten. The one I mentioned, Gaia just now, Mayor Rano and Kayare. Yeah. Now those have been there in Osman Dafodio time, and now let me tell you, those people that have been anxious in praying for this day to come are already happy. So coming to take it away from there is going to be, in fact, anything can happen. Okay. So it is important that they find a way of navigating this thing in the final analysis for the interest of the people. Because if the people now begin to feel the impact, then it will now, they find a way of meeting. For me, I'm sure, who went to court? It's not Sanusi. Sanusi might not even bother to go to court. Yeah. Like he have said, you know, remember when he mentioned about the 25% of Nigeria budget is consumed by the National Assembly? Yeah. They summon him. Yeah. Since they summon him, the House of Reps summoned him. He went to Senate and he told them, look, my name is not Governor of Central Bank. I can leave here anytime. And the way he handled the matter, as if it's, yes, he tell you his life does not depend on the Governor of Central Bank. That same day, the House of Reps withdraw their summon. So for him, I don't think he will be interested in even going to court. So he might even tell you, look, I don't need this thing. And he goes. His life continues. Okay. So, but how will the governor metamorphosize this whole issue and dramatize it for the interest of the people? If there are poverty in the streets in Kano, how will he now use this emirate to remove those poverty from this? That should be the primary concern of everybody. We might talk from here to tomorrow. The Kano state are moving. You know, they are moving on. So the generation of the new emirs are already increasing in bound, and they're already increasing.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. If you just joined us, you're watching TMI, lovely Monday's edition with yours sincerely. We've been talking about the balkanization of the Kano Emirate Council from 1 to 5, including the original one, what you could call the Mother Emirate Council, which of course was being headed by Muhammadu Sanusi II. Out of that, you have 4 more, talking about Rano, Bichi, Karaye, and of course, with these new structures in place, other emirs will not take charge of this new Emirate Council. The governor of Kano State has said the reason is to reduce the burden on the present emir. Just like Christian said, there is no way where the former general overseer emir complained that the emirate was too large for him to handle. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed and see how all of these play out in the days to come. And just on the verge of concluding our discussion segment. Of course, expectations are high with the emergence of new leadership of the National Assembly. Hopefully that will be in June when the 9th Assembly will be constituted or inaugurated, as it were. Well, and the dailies now is a report that hangers on around the leadership of both the Senate and the House of Representatives. They are shrinking by the day. That's what it is, because power is transient, all right? And if you don't understand that and you just think that you continue to be there forever, then you miss it out completely. But that's not the focus of our discussion. Is to look at the centripetal and centrifugal forces playing out on who becomes what. At the onset, we heard that Femi Gbajabiamila was unanimously adopted by the ruling party as a speaker, and then of course Ahmed Lawan as the Senate president. But it looks like there are some issues being brought forth and back in that direction, particularly the issue of godfatherism in politics. Let me again start off with Fares Okpere. Yeah, how does godfatherism become a factor in who becomes what at the National Assembly?
Well, we cannot remove godfatherism from Nigerian politics. And sadly, for Femi this time around, the friction between his godfather, godfather of Lagos politics, Tinubu, is also rubbing on him. And I'm also afraid that it might also rub on Lawan, because some parts of the ruling party, some members of the ruling party, particularly from the northern part, feels that the godfather from the southwest is getting too much. And it's about time to reduce his influence, considering the fact that he's also having an eye for 2023 presidential.
But he has consistently denied that.
Well, they all deny it. Everybody denies it. Nobody comes out to say 4 years to an election that I want to run.
Yeah.
Nobody will do that. He's denying that so that he can remove this this friction, and all that. But the truth is that the Femi and Lawan will suffer the consequences of their alignment with Tinubu, because first of all, the House is not fully organized the way it's supposed to be in terms of the numbers. They don't have that numbers, overwhelming numbers. You have, for the Senate, for example, the PDP have 40, I think by now they have about 45 senators, which could even go to 48 if one or two cases are resolved between now and June. And with that number of senators, you can't even rule them out, which means they also can form a quorum. They can also
align with another group of interest to change the narrative.
Yes, to change the narrative, and also to present the Senate President and the leaders of the House. Now, what you have in the House these days is, you can't compare it to like 1999 and 2003, where you have an overwhelming majority from the ruling party. Now, the opposition is very much in the game, so you can't just give it to one side. Okay. So what you have now, you have anybody who can rebel, like what Saraki did in last dispensation. Just rebel, get some few senators on your side to join to the opposition, and then you get it. Okay. Because if all the PDP, they are voting in bloc, because they're the opposition, they vote in bloc. So if you get, say, 7 or 8 senators from the APC, rebel senators, to join the PDP camp, then that's it. And that's what's not playing well for the Lagos big man, because a lot of people feel that he's having too much influence just from the southwest, and his influence is now overriding. They believe, at a point he brought the vice president, he wants to bring the Senate president, he wants to bring the speaker, he has the one in charge of Federal Inland Revenue Service, he has governors, and they feel, come on, are we giving this man too much? So that's where the problem is coming from. And I'm sorry for Femi, because at the last House of Assembly election, I was a staff then in the National Assembly, and I saw how Femi narrowly missed it, And I'm sorry for him this time, because it's all still going to repeat itself again. But this time around, the forces against him are not even strong. Not because Femi is a bad person, not because he is not a good politician, not because he doesn't deserve it, because of his alliance to Tinubu. Right. And that's politics for you.
All right. Barrister Osagi, let's get your thoughts on how all of these will play out ultimately, against the background of the fact that the grounds are just shifting, consistently. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's unfortunate, like we are witnessing today now. All we talk about is, I want to be this, I want to get that. Taking a critical look at Bola Tinubu, he has always said, they keep criticizing me for things I have not done. So I decided as a person to keep my hands in everything so that when they blame anybody, I will take the blame in real sense. Probably that is what he's trying to do, because I've seen him literally everywhere, and then, and see his loyalists and people that believe in him and his political ideology, which I also celebrate to some extent, but the truth is this: you cannot have it all. That is one thing about life, and that's one strong thing. There's nothing that will make Tinubu president of Nigeria. I know that very well.
He has a right.
He has a right to contest.
Yes.
I know very well. Listen, look at what happened, played out the other day in Lagos. A man that was dancing shoki with Tinubu, and I'm talking of the man in Kano, Kaduna, Rufai. We saw him. He said there is a way you can change the narrative in Lagos. He was talking publicly. He's another twin brother of Lamido Sanusi, in some way of outspoken nature of his. He said, all you need to do, whoever wants to be Lagos governor, starts planning now. He was saying it publicly. Are you trying to unseat the KBC in Lagos now, of Lagos politics?
Yeah.
Obviously, it seems as if it's all well with, the Lagos KBC of politics, of Lagos politics, as well as to some other region in the country, and he has said, the reason I am involved in all of this is because my name is going everywhere, and I just want a situation whereby I really know what's happening. But they are not saying it that way. Before the 2019 election, there was this issue of, we are together, we are coming together. But we know very well that immediately a president is named, loyalty will be pulled away from where it used to be, because there will be some other ambition, even in the so-called ambition of bringing in the president a second time. Now, as it stands today now, and the person like Rufai is also wanting to be president. He has not hidden that desire before. So the other day he was in Lagos. He was telling the Lagos folks how to unseat
the godfather.
The godfather, and then, there's nothing mystical about being a godfather. You can do this and all of that, he said. And then you will wonder, what? Just yesterday we were together drinking and eating together. Now look at what is happening. Now, why Femi Gbajabiamila will not, or will
may
not,
let me not just stand
as though I'm the one.
Yes.
May not become the speaker is simple. They know his men. He's a man that understands how to work on people and use them to achieve his purpose. They know very well if Femi becomes the speaker and Lawa becomes the Senate president, his influence is growing, and they will be able to control. And then when it's time for the election, he can use them to pull a whole lot of strings and then eventually becoming the president.
Okay.
These are some of the things
let me pause it there, Kristen. We are just coming to what is widely held as a belief that the average politician always thinks about the next election. I'd like to get your thoughts along those lines.
And I think that's why we are still where we are in Maroli as a nation. I know it's painful because after how many years of independence, but the problem has always been that Nigerian politics has not been practiced as it ought to be practiced. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. If you look at section 221 to 229, it was crafted for political party. And it simply says, 221, that in Nigeria, party politics is supreme. So for every human being to become whoever in Nigeria, you must come through a platform of a political party. So politicians have relegated party to the background. And that is why, like this National Assembly, people are talking, if the party have said, this is who we want, you don't have option, because in the first place, the logo, your picture was never on the ballot paper. It is the party's logo. Not because INEC wants it that way, or the politician wants it that way, because that is what the Constitution says. It is the party that the Constitution recognizes. That is why today we don't have independent candidates. So Nigerians must navigate to that level of giving it to the party. Even if the party bring anybody you don't like, accept it as the way. In those days, we were very small, when party was party. If I live, for example, as the governor, when the party called for council meeting, I listen as a member of the party, not as the leader of the party. That is where we have it wrong. If you are the president of Nigeria under any political party, once it is party meeting, you relocate as a party member. So the party must be supreme unless we navigate to that level where the party's supremacy is allowed. Nigeria will continue to rigmarole. And that is why when party has spoken, somebody will say one godfather. In America, there is, they don't call it, they don't call their godfather, they call it mentor. For Obama to become governor, they were mentors. So there is no way you can take away all these people. The problem with Nigeria is that these godfathers we have only talk about their pocket and their relations pocket.
And their stomachs.
And their stomach. So they are not interested about what is good for the good of all. That is why there is challenge.
Okay.
So unless we begin to see the party as supreme, when 1999, this Fourth Republic started, Nigeria was almost navigating towards that direction. When Adobe have the courage to even question the president, then Obasanjo. And I think that was where the whole thing quagmire again. Who are you to question the president? And eventually he removed, and Obasanjo have a record of having national leaders of his party, about 5 before his tenure ended. So party cannot, that is why after Obasanjo become the leader of party, governor become leader of party in the state, and local government chairman become leader of party in the local government. Things don't work like that. Let the party become supreme, because that is what the law says.
Okay.
If you follow the law and the national, this 9th assembly, why were we having all this crisis in the 8th assembly? Because what the party says they want, somehow, like my brother said, Saraki was sharp. He had to play them, and other leaders came. And the party was always not having its way. Now in this 9th assembly, they have chosen leaders again. And the good news is that it was even the same people that they chose before. Now let's see how this thing is going to play out.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, I am very sure that they are going to have their way.
All right, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, because the APC as a party, even when Gandoji and others they don't want to even lose it to the, like he said, opposition party have more members.
They're just waiting. They're just waiting.
And they don't want to even lose it to the other party. They are just calculating but I think at the end of the day, the party will have its way.
Okay, it's not about who emerges that is our concern, but it should be done in a most transparent manner. In addition, the best qualified person should have a go at such leadership position. Because when you have the right leaders in place, you can be rest assured that the people will always rejoice and be happy. Be happy in the sense that things will move in the right direction. But if you have people that are stooges and appendages of godfathers, you can be rest assured that they will always do the biddings of those who place them there. That's not what we want. We want people that will be independent-minded. They can actually speak for the people. That's the only way the country can move forward. I want to say big thanks to Perez, Barrister Awosage, and Comrade Christian Usagale for coming on the program.